My name is Olof Lundström, and I work for Ericsson. I think this is the 4th year in a row that I present the case here in the Excitera Innovation Challenge, if I remember correctly. Before that, I was one of the organizers of this competition. So some people might think that this is the only thing I do, but I actually do other things as well. Some other people might think that I come up with all the innovations here in Ericsson, but that's also not true. But at least I will present one of our research findings and innovations called the service blends with IMS. And the first part of the presentation, I will present a little bit of what we have, what is our kind of contribution to this competition, what is the research finding that we have, if you can call it a research finding. Okay, so it's called IMS. IMS stands for IP Multimedia Subsystem. Have you ever heard that abbreviation before?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of you, good. Well, basically some kind of infrastructure, some platform, and it's a platform that not only Ericsson has come up with, but it's actually an industry standard. And it's in operation at the moment. It's deployed and in trial phase with many operators around the globe. And it's a way, it's kind of an IP connectivity where you can get access to both wireless and wired networks. So mobile cellular networks, it can be wireless LAN, it can be cable, fiber, anything. And there's also some kind of API, some kind of interface towards third parties who wants to develop applications on top of this platform. So one way of kind of explaining what this is to say that, I mean, you can compare it with SMS today. SMS in your phone is a way of communicating with friends, and it's kind of a communication tool. And you can use it from your mobile phone, and you don't have to download any special client and anything. You can just start using it. And I think it's a bit same here. The difference is that SMS is not so efficient tool if you want to send a lot of information and for very communication intensive applications. So if you come up with services and applications that need a lot of communication, server to client initiated communication, kind of push type of services, client to client communication between between friends or between mobile phones, then this is a system that provides some advantage. So what we will do now here during the autumn is actually to give you a little bit of a taste of this system. So we will have a beta test up and running here in Sweden. So if you would develop some application, some mobile application, internet application, you could do that and develop it on top of our system. And all the services that you develop will be can be accessed from a 3G phone or from a 3G network. Not any 3G phone, but from some special ones that have Java. You can see it here what we provide. I mean, both the device, the API framework, and we do that for Java mid-P 2.0 phones. So for some phones, and we also provide a server side, a Java Enterprise Application Server environment. But of course, in this competition, you are not supposed to develop anything at all. I mean, not any implementation, no software development or anything like that. But what you will do is to come up with ideas and business ideas and services that you potentially could develop on this platform. So if you think like this, okay, assume now that you have this infrastructure and this platform, and that's what we provide. That's the Ericsson Beta-test environment. And then you think about other services that you can find on the internet, for example, just any service. And then think about, okay, what about if you add some functionality that makes this service more communication intensive, as I said? Then it would be an advantage to use our system. And you can also add other more user contextual type of information from sensors or from location data or whatever you find. And all that together, that's how you can come up with new services, new and exciting service blends, as we call it. And I can give you some examples of what you can do. I mean, it can be about the games, virtual persistent games, where you use NFC technology. NFC technology that's like RFID tags, or positioning. So you would need to communicate with the, in this way. I had the other slide here. I mean, server initiated or client to client. It can be any other type of services. It can be about sell and buy. Maybe you want to present advertisements to a specific target group. But unless you can be very specific in what advertisement you present to what user, people will perceive it as spam. But if you can be more detailed on that, I think then by using, for example, location data or other additional contextual information, then the service would be much more user-friendly. It can be mobile positioning-based photo blogs. Can be kind of virtual stickers. That's kind of, you imagine that you put up a post-it note somewhere here, just up here, and I say piano here. And then other people around that come to this place can see and read this note. That type of services. Yeah, you see the full list there. Traffic monitoring, health monitoring, and much more. So either, I mean, you can pick something from this list and elaborate on that when you dream up your new services, or you just come up with your own ones. And we did one example inside Ericsson as well. This was a service that when you logged into this web page here, it automatically knew where you were. It had the location data. You could look at the weather, so of course you knew the weather for your specific place. You could had your friends list there, a buddy list of friends, and then you could maybe see their location as well on the map. So real weather, real map, positioning based. And this was something we just did inside Ericsson to demonstrate what you can do with this technology. And it's not a commercial system as well. But when you work on all these ideas and you brainstorm up new ideas, I think it's also important to think about some other aspects here. First of all, the only assumption is that, okay, we provide some type of platform, so you can use that platform for more, as I said, communication intensive applications. But then you can bring in ideas from what you find out there already on the internet, available cutting edge technologies. You can use user contextual information, and I mean, there are technologies out there, maybe sensors that read certain information, and then if you want, you can assume that you use those technologies when you try to formulate your idea of the new service. But one thing as important, of course, is the business part. And you have to think about, okay, is this service, well, it may be really cool, but is there a way to, to make a business out of it? Who is doing what? I mean, maybe your idea will form a completely new company, or you need to have some partners or relationships with other companies. That can be something to think about. And how you do it, that it's actually real, that you do it and think out the service so that it's really easy to use, something that you can do with not a too high cost. I mean, keeping costs down, and that is actually possible to do within a number of months if we would give you the money to actually do it. So I think these are the type of services that have a bigger chance of succeeding, because if you come up with something that is really, really complex and almost impossible to do and implement, then few users will use it anyway at the end of the day. But I think right now we don't have this system up and running. The beta test that we will launch will be up during the autumn. So what you do now is basically write your business plan, and if you want, you can continue then later on after this competition and actually develop something here for real, something that you continue to work on. And then, you're free to ask me questions now, and if you have more questions after, it's not me but another Ericsson employee, Michael Åström, who is responsible for this project. So you're free to contact him as well, and he can guide you to the right person within Ericsson. Yeah, question?
How does IMS solve the fragmentation problem? So if I develop an application for IMS,
yeah,
is it going to be available for all users with all operators? And who do I talk to deploy that?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is this something that's going to be available anywhere, or do I need to develop like a different application for a different country or a different operator? The answer is that this is a standard. Of course, it's not being rolled out all over the globe yet, but it's in the progress of doing that. But I think the important part here is that we will actually make it that possible here in Sweden. So if you want to develop some application, we will guarantee that it works with any operator or all the 3D operator networks here in Sweden. And that's what our beta test is about, Ericsson's beta test. So you don't have to adapt to every single operator or so, but you just need to follow our kind of guidelines or APIs, interfaces, and develop your application on top of our server infrastructure.
So the operator needs to be using an Ericsson IMS installation.
That's something we have organized, so it's nothing that you have to bother about. The question was if this will work on, basically a similar question, if this will work on with all operators, and that's something that Ericsson has taken care of, so it will work with all the 3G networks in Sweden, so not globally. But I think many of these services are actually local, right? Say you want to use location, if you want to add more user context. So more specific to you, what you do, what matters to you, personalization, these type of things. So I think Sweden is a quite good, can be a very good test market to do this.
Will this work on all phones?
No, the API framework will be for Java, some specific Java phones, as you see on this slide. So the phone has to support this environment. I don't know, the question whether we can use this on all the phones. Johan, do you have any more input on this, or how many phones No. No. But I think this is kind of standard technologies, open technologies. Yeah, more questions?
What will be the connection speed?
The connection speed, that's the question. It again depends on the access network. So we say here it's available with Swedish 3G networks. So then that says something about the speed already.
So it's same with 3G speed?
Yeah. One more question.
How much will the speed be in like 1 or 2 years when this service is real?
I think the question is what will be the speed in a few years' time? A lot of things happen in this area and very fast. So, I mean, there are, I don't know if maybe you have already tried it, but the evolution of 3G, so faster 3G networks, sometimes called turbo 3G networks, and they provide maximum of theoretical maximum of 14 megabits per second. And then there are new generations of networks being rolled out. But of course, that's a question that matters. These networks won't be available all over the world from day one. So they're stepwise deployed and put in place by different operators. Yeah, one more question.
This beta testing, I guess some services also would be available, or just the interaction.
The question is if in this Ericsson Beta-test will some services be available. I think what we hope is that many students like you want to develop services, and of course those services will be available for others. So I mean, yeah. One more question.
Is Ericsson designing any services for this platform?
The question is Ericsson designing any services for this platform? Yes, we do. I don't think they will be part of the beta test, but we have developed that for years actually to demonstrate what's possible to do related to maybe presence type of services. Push to talk is a kind of a communication type of service that you can use.
Do you have any commercial goals for this development, or is it just for demonstration?
Okay, the question is, do we have any commercial goals to, I mean, the reason for developing this type of services? Well, of course, that's a bit out of the scope of this competition, but we develop services to demonstrate what's possible to do on these type of platforms, and then usually what we do is that we use the operators as a channel to reach users. But now we want also, I mean, that's why I'm here. We want to have a relationship with people here in the university environment that can develop services as well together with us. Yeah, one more question.
So a lot of the people here, when they write their business plans, they're going to be writing a section on distribution of the application they're going to be doing. Does IMS provide any new types of distribution methods that are maybe easier, or maybe they circumvent certain operators in a way that makes it easier for the application developers?
Yes, you can say that's what we do here with IMS. I mean, since Ericsson is taking a role as you can view it as a broker in a way, so we have negotiated with all the Swedish operators, and if you develop, I mean, your service on top of this platform, then it will work with the operators that we have an agreement with. So from that perspective, it's a different distribution channel maybe than what you see commercially today.
Okay, I think that will have to be it. Thank you all.
Thank you.